good. If you think the better you look, the better you feel. You know what I'm saying? When life is already hard and your life is already the foundation, Mikhail John, they kind of put this off, they kind of funded everything, and we just coordinated everything. So basically, we're gonna just open up with a discussion over colorism. So who's ever experienced racism in their life? Raise your hand. What are the different ways you've experienced racism?
Has anyone in this room ever felt that their blackness wasn't good enough? Or that they were too black?
When it comes to the matter of being too black, I think self-hatred is a thing. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the times we grow up with jokes like, "You're too dark, we can't see you." Some people might call you midnight, and we automatically we automatically laugh at these things, but deep inside we really feel hurt by these things. And the reason why we laugh at these things, that's our way of showing our friends, like, that's our way of understanding, okay, I can't share this part of my pain with you, because this is a comedic towards you. You know what I'm saying? But on your ones, I know for me, it definitely affected me. And it took me a lot of the times to realize that my black is beautiful. It took me a lot of times to realize that, and I just have to realize that through self-love, through every day just looking at myself and reminding myself that my black is beautiful. And at the end of the day, there is light in your darkness. So can everybody say, my black is beautiful?
My black is beautiful.
Say like you believe it though.
My black is beautiful.
Say like you really believe it though. Like,
my black is beautiful.
Okay. We just wanted to start that off because we knew we were gonna attack mostly people of color for it today. So we wanted to start it off by letting you know that your black is beautiful. And I know when I was in middle school and I was in high school, these are things that I faced and these are issues that I faced, but nobody would even speak about them. You know what I mean? And even when teachers hear these dark-skinned jokes, they don't say anything. But any other situations, they're here to talk. You cuss in middle school, they're not gonna say anything. Whatever jokes you find, but dark-skinned jokes never get called out as that's racist. Probably because sometimes, a lot of times, we don't have teachers of color, or the teachers of color we do have, they just ignore it. But I know how this affects you guys deeply, because it starts from a young age. Because honestly, you guys are too young to face self-racism. You know what I mean? Like I'm hearing stories about I'm hearing stories about issues that you guys have with people of color. We should all be together in unity and never judge each other. So whenever you guys go to school and you hear someone bagging on somebody because they're dark skinned or whatever, automatically you guys gotta attack that and tell them, no, that's a racist comment. You should love yourself and you should love me because we're the same people. You feel me? Make some noise if you believe that one time. So basically, as the event is called Feel Good, Look Good, Eat Good, we're gonna just talk about how mental health and how physical health connect. And we're also going to talk about different ways that we believe the government can help black people exceed and succeed in life. Because we all know there's an issue with equality going on right now. So, in general though, when it comes to the topic of mental health, who knows what mental health is? Raise your hand. To the people in here in middle school and high school, does your teachers talk about mental health? Yeah? Somewhat. What have they said about it so far? Do your teachers talk about depression? Do your teachers talk about anxiety? See, these are topics that I wish I was taught in middle school and in high school. And the reason why I'm so for educating the community about it now is because I know your teachers will not consult you about this. Even on the topic of Black History Month. Your history dates way more than just a month. They're just giving you 1 month out of the year, and it's the coldest month out of the year.
And the shortest.
The shortest and the coldest month out of the year. I encourage you guys to go search your history way before, because there's more than what they teach you. And in school, for me, it was just the same routine every time. Martin Luther King, but they never gave me Malcolm X. They never gave me all the other names. Like Tracy, I know you know bare names. So give me some names.
Like I mean, like from back in the day or even currently?
From back in the day, because I know you shared a lot in your poetry.
Francis Dubois, I don't know, I can't remember some of the names, but there's a lot.
There is a lot, and there's a lot more than we teach us in history class. So, with that note being said, the way we battle with depression is we say self-expression is our way of battling with depression. So we do poetry, songs, music. For Chris, you might be DJing. For Cap, I might be DJing. For Mac, it might be poetry. So we all have multiple different outlets we use to express the emotions that we don't always know how to express. And I just want to encourage you guys to do the same thing. Whatever outlets that you guys find, whatever talents you guys find, whether that's dancing, whether that's basketball, whatever that is, use that as your outlets to express your emotions, and always know maybe you can't control You can't control people, but you can control yourself. And with that being said, I'll have our founder kind of speak about it.
So the Galzon Foundation is the foundation of Canada's first black Governor General. So the Governor General, if you probably know or maybe not know, how many people have heard of a Governor General? So one person, two people, three, four? Okay, not bad, not bad. So who's heard of a Prime Minister? All right, okay. So the Governor General is actually above the Prime Minister, and usually, according to the Constitution, the Governor General can choose who's going to be the Prime Minister and who's going to be the governor. It's only happened once in 66 years that the Governor General had the chance to choose who's going to be the Prime Minister, and it just happened that was Canada's first black Governor General that had the chance to do that. So that's who Nicole is. So anyway, so the foundation itself is, well, my involvement, just to give you why I'm involved. So when I was growing up, so I'm from Montreal. I was born in Haiti, but I grew up in Montreal. So in I'd say in high school, a lot of my friends started getting shot or stabbed, and way too many. And so I was starting to get concerned, so I wanted to find a way to try to find some ideas to make the violence end. So I started working with the community and different projects and stuff. And eventually, the Governor General met me and asked me to join her team to work with youth. So for the last 8 years, we've been going across Canada working with youth, trying to bring about change. And so one of the things that we've been doing is focusing on the situation of black youth, because what we've heard across the country, it doesn't matter if it's in Halifax, in Montreal, or Toronto, or Winnipeg, the fourth highest rate of homicide, so it's one of the most dangerous places in the country. And so what we did was we brought together around 300 young people, hip-hop artists, graffiti artists, dancers, and we had a conversation with them, but we also brought in some cabinet ministers, we brought in some business leaders to listen to the youth. And what the youth said was that the neighborhoods were really too dangerous for them. Like everybody's getting stabbed, we're being shot up, and so they didn't know what to do, but they wanted change. So what ended up happening is that the government finally listened, and in the space of 7 months, the shootings and the stabbings went down by 70%, and then in the next year it went down by another 75%. And so they were saying that now, like the drug dealers and everything, were running away from the community. They were scared of the community because the community was taking over. So that just showed the power of youth. If the government listens to young people, if the business leaders listen to young people, that kind of change can happen. So that's why we're going around the country really to hear what are the challenges that you're listening to, that you're facing, what are some of the ideas that you believe that your communities need, and then we bring it back to the government and we bring it back to the business leaders so they can come back and support everything that you do. The other thing I'm going to say is that by the end of the night, I'm going to talk about how people in this room can win $1,000. There's a competition that we're launching. You have a chance to win $1,000 and get a free flight and hotel paid to fly to Ottawa for a weekend. So we'll talk about that a bit later. But that's just some of the projects we have about supporting you. The Habo, she's my ride and die. We've been working together now for what?
A very long time it seems, but really it's been 7 weeks.
It feels like 5 years, but it's been 7 weeks though. So she's from the Somali Center for Family Services, and so they are a big national partner with this project. And so, why don't you tell us a bit about what you guys do and how you're part of the project?
Absolutely. So I'm really glad to be here. Like Peter was just saying, my name is Tahabo. I'm a swimmer. I'm a Somali person, Somali Canadian. So I'm here representing the Somali Center for Family Services. We are an organization that's based out of Ottawa, and we've been in existence for about 25 years now. It's very cool that someone's getting a haircut right next to me, by the way. I'm like tempted by just looking at how we're doing this. But so what we've been doing is, in the early 90s, what happened is that a lot of Somalis immigrated to Canada. And when we came to Canada, I didn't necessarily know how to get a job, or how to go to school, or how to do some of the things that everybody else was doing in society.
There's not really much power in silence. I mean, it's when you stay silent, when you have the answer, and oftentimes, even sometimes when you're in class and you're asking a question, everybody's embarrassed to ask the question, but the first one who asks the question breaks the ice for everybody else. It makes everybody else feel comfortable that, okay, I can ask this question too, I'm not stupid for asking this question. So as we go through the process of these questions, please feel free to speak. We have glows who will be writing all your answers. Thank you to those who've already put your answers on the sticky boards or whatever. Those will be passed around if you have more answers that you want to put on throughout the night. I guess the first question we're going to ask is, what can the federal government do to improve justice for black youth? So once again, what can the federal government do to improve justice for black youth? This is a question the youth can answer. The kind of semi-adults in the back can answer, because we're also 20 and 23 or whatever. So I would want me to figure out for mine.
I feel like when it comes down to black on black crime, I feel like the justice system doesn't really give a damn, especially like being from the Somali community. It's always Somalis killing other Somalis, and we never end up finding who the killer is 3 years from now, 5 years from now. It's just always, you know, kept under the rug. So I just feel like if the federal government actually put in time and money into actually finding who the killers are, that would be amazing.
For today, like we're gonna go through a couple hard questions. There's gonna be a couple hard answers, but honestly, like just let's be attentive and let's get right energy as much as we answer these questions. So I'm gonna toss it to the crowd.
What do you guys think about when you think of access to justice? What does that mean to you? What does access mean? What does that mean to you? Because we don't all have the same definition of access to justice. So what does justice mean to you in your neighborhood? What do you think about justice when you hear the word justice? What do you think? What's the first word that comes to mind? You feel that there's over-representation, there's a police presence that's not necessarily needed in the neighborhood, do you think? Does it make you feel safer to have them around? Or does it make you feel more scared?
Why does the media love to focus on predominantly black areas, but only focus on the negativity of those areas?
That's kind of just to keep that image of like, you know, black people are like savages or whatever, they never learn, we're just violent, like, there's nothing good for me.
It's very true. Now with that being said, like what are ways, because see, this is how it tackles down to mental health. Because if for your whole life, you constantly hear negative perceptions over yourself, you constantly hear negative perceptions over your people. At one point, sadly, it does get to you at one point. So how are ways that you remind yourself that your black is beautiful, that your community is great? Like what are ways that you remind yourself?
Acknowledge like another human being, you know? Like nowadays, it's like poor connection. Like you could just saw somebody and just walk past, like you don't see it. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You know? We need to like acknowledge and not acknowledge the next human being. You don't have to like have a bigger conversation, but you're like, yo, you know, evening or simple stuff like that. You know, just to build that peace bond like right there. You know, instead of the past, like come forward. You know? Stuff like that.
No, it's a real factual point, and I'm really glad you said that too, because I think growing up in this area, there's too many issues where like, I'm in Tobermory, I'm in Palisades, now I'm in a dangerous area. At the end of the day, Tobermory and Palisades are like 5 to 10 minutes from each other. You have to understand, let's say Tobermory's here, Jane and Finch Mall and Palisades are right beside each other. Let's say I'm just on my way to get groceries for my mother, and now I'm being stopped by someone of the same color as me, and even ask where am I going, who are you, where are you? Yeah, and automatically there we have a conflict. And then it's like, why are we fighting each other? We're coming from the same area, we share the same color of skin. Clearly there's a lack of unity. But I don't think that we just grew up not liking each other. I think we were taught to not like each other. Even from the beginning when I asked you guys about the dark skin stuff and light skin stuff, everybody said, like, yeah, they've all experienced their own form of self-racism towards themselves, where someone has told them a joke about their dark skinness. So at the end of the day, we were taught to hate each other, but that's why we have spaces like this, where we remind each other of the importance of why we need to love each other. You feel me? So, did you have a question that you want to ask me?
Yeah, so I know being raised in the hood or being from the hood, there's a lot of like, you know, bad images about where you're from, or people will portray you a certain way. But personally, I feel like I've never felt more safe in my hood per se Only because, okay, so I moved from my hood and I lived downtown for like 2 years. I can never walk from the bus stop to my house living in downtown because I always felt like, okay, some crazy person is just gonna randomly pop out of nowhere. I'm gonna have to go through all of this random stuff. But I feel like there's some negatives and there's some positive parts about the hood where it's like when you grow up with people and you've seen people and you went to the same school, you know you can come home at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. If there's certain people on the block, they'll look at you and be like, oh, you're just coming in, all right, don't know. I feel like I've never felt more safe than the community that I came from. And I grew up in Dixon, so every other day was like a shooting, this and that, but I still knew, like, you know what? At the end of the day, I feel very comfortable being in the hood that I am. And it was never the hood people, the people in my hood who ever made me feel like I wasn't safe. It was always the police. I always saw a cop, even though I know I did nothing, I would always be anxious, there would be anxiety, I'd be like, oh my god, okay, so wait, what did I do? Am I carrying anything? Am I in the wrong place? So yeah, I don't really know where I was getting with this, but I just want to know how you guys feel about your hoods and where you guys grew up and if you guys feel safe there. I mean, aside from all the negative stuff, well, if you guys genuinely feel safe in your hood.
I guess when I was like younger, like I used to live by like 2999 when I was younger, and like I guess like a lot of it, cause like I don't remember like shootings or anything growing up, but like I used to like, you know, see like the guys like around and stuff. I remember like one thing, like my grandma and stuff always used to do, like coming from church, she'd always like acknowledge them, like hand them out like pamphlets and stuff. And like even growing up, like, you know, like your like next door neighbor who's like, I don't know what he does, but like, you know, that like, I don't know, you guys kind of feel like a sense of like community almost. And like, yeah, I feel like you feel like more safe, but then like you hear stuff on the news, you know, it's like you're living there, but then you're seeing like stuff on the news, hearing like you know, you might be downtown and then someone's like, oh, like man, like where do you live or something, you say Danfish, you're like, whoa, like you live there, and you're like what? Like, you know, and just hearing like all that, like it kind of like brainwashes you into thinking like, oh, like do I live in like such a bad place? And, you know, and then that fear kind of like slowly like,
So I'm today, black cop, and he's like, boy, to my brother, he's a black cop, right? He's like, boy, where you going? Just like that. That's the first approach you did. Yeah. And as like a black man, the next black man, you know, you didn't compliment him on his outfit, you just say, boy, when you just like that. But then after, and you tell him that, hey, I'm just for interview, exposures, whatever. Then he's like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
He at first judge him before, you know?
Before you interacted with him. Yeah, I think that's what I said.
He's stuff like that, you know? It's actually black.
I think proper interaction is crazy. It's really important. I feel like
You gotta look at a big man like that.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Look at him and see like, boy, you know? You shouldn't be a professional to know this is a grown man, you know?
Yeah, so in fact, I think like you set the tone, the way you look at someone, the way you dap someone's hand, you set the tone. Obviously, there's certain people that you can't control. Like you said, you can only control yourself. So you have to come in with the right intentions, the way you approach someone, the way you say hi, because from then and there, that determines your next interaction, and that a first judgment in the first spot is really important to someone. And you know what's crazy? The reason why I chose to call this event Feel Good, Eat Good, Look Good, and I chose to have like a barber here, is because oftentimes when we go to barber shops and we go to hair salons, we don't really encounter the most positive conversation. A lot of the times we encounter gossip or things along those lines, but to now think that we're kind of like in like a little barber shop here and we're having conversations that are related towards mental health. So to me that was why it's important. 1, 2, 3.
My black is beautiful.
Kappa, hit him on the shoulder. 2, 3.
My black is beautiful.
Say it again.
My black is beautiful.
Say it proud.
My black is beautiful.
Say it loud.
My black is beautiful.
Thank you.
It's like helping the future, you know, so I don't know if that came out.
Some of the things that we've heard in other cities when it comes to schools is that, you know, to have more visible minority teachers, right? So that's one big one that we always hear from everyone, that we don't have enough of that within our schools.
And now, honestly, well, she was my barber, you know what I mean? The guy, like, every time I sit in his chair, That's talking to me about life. When are you gonna get your G2? When are you gonna go to, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like, I really realized that getting your hair cut, like honestly, I believe that as black people, going to a therapist is frowned upon. You know what I mean? So I believe a black man's first therapist is his barber. You know what I mean? I believe a black woman's first therapist is her hair salon, who does her nails and whatever. And in that moment, think about it. You have someone in the chair. You know what you can say to someone in the chair? Like, you know what I mean? You know how much knowledge you can pour into someone, and you have them for 30 minutes, and they're entrusting you with their head top. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, in that moment, to me, it's like a really moment of knowledge. Even in the Get Out movie, where was he in the chair? And they were feeding him knowledge through the TV. So to me, like, when someone is in that chair, you have the opportunity to educate them on so much. So yeah, that's the concept behind the look, you know what I mean?
And I feel like with makeup, like, it comes, okay, so like, with mental health, me personally, like, I have depression, so like, when I look in the mirror and I see my bags and, you know, my hair all messed up, I feel like, oh my god, ew, who the fuck is that? But then, I'll put on some concealer, you know, I hit a little 1-2 contour, my eyebrows are all deep, and I literally look at myself like, okay, so who's that? And now I can go seize the day. So I feel like, you know, having, you know, your makeup, and I just feel like it makes you feel better. Eating good makes you feel better. Good marketing.
It is good marketing, but I won't even lie. On the topic of makeup, I was a bit conflicted. Because I'll explain why.
Don't start, there's a lot of women.
I know, no. I'll be real. Who's like, no. Okay, it's okay, we've outnumbered you guys today, so you know.
All it takes is 2 women.
Okay. No, I don't have an issue with makeup. I just want women to know you are just as beautiful without it, and you're just as beautiful with it.
Okay, but sometimes
I got you.
it enhances our beauty.
I got you. And I'm with it.
You was good because you know what it is. You know what it is that men don't understand about makeup? As much as I love you for saying that we look good without the makeup, I think most of us know that we're beautiful without the makeup. But there's something that comes with makeup, just like men getting their cut like this.
You're right.
Like I can tell you that without it, you look handsome.
Yeah.
But you're gonna believe me, no.
What?
You guys look at your sneakers.
You're gonna tell a girl you
Oh
don't
yeah,
make
wear
makeup
white
if she
sneakers.
spent
They
like
gotta
2
be
hours putting it on.
You see this stuff that I'm using? It's kind of like an enhancement. To make the line look sharper. So it's basically like something like makeup that the girls do.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
you know?
Thank you.
Yes, so it's the same.
You're doing your eyelining right now.
Yeah, you see?
Same thing.
But see, that's my point though. It's an enhancement. It doesn't create your beauty, but it just kind of just. It gives a mental picture.
There's a mental health aspect to it, right?
Yeah.
So sitting in front of a mirror and doing your eyebrows and putting on lipstick and reapplying it through the day, and doing like it makes you feel good. Getting your nails done, sitting there and getting pampered. It's a woman's way of feeling good, right? So it's therapeutic.
You know what? Most men, they don't get it.
No, they don't.
They don't get it.
There's a lot of problem with men anyway, but
A lot of men think we put on makeup for them to see that we look good. It's not really. I personally don't give a damn. I just know, like, once I wear makeup, I know I'm not bitch. Like, I look good. Okay, that's me. I can go accomplish anything.
So what's your take on skin bleaching? Isn't it the same thing? Because you started off talking about liking your black soul.
Yeah, we didn't talk about colorism. I'll be real. Okay, growing up, my mom's light skin. And growing up, honestly, I grew up around so much light skin products. There was Carol Light, there was different there was bare products, and then at one point, like, it's kind of like I started realizing how, like, every day in the bathroom when I'm trying myself, I'm just seeing all these products to skin lightening, bleaching, something just for her to just keep that same like type of skin or whatever. So in my head, I just started realizing, I'm like, is this what like being like beautiful means? Like, and I mean, like, and I remember, like, Tracy, I think you have a story about a kid. I
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was the darkest skin. He had the darkest skin complexion in his family, and basically I don't know what he poured on himself, but it was like this harmful substance, and it ended up giving him like some chemical burn on his skin because he was trying to become light because they would always make fun of him. So yeah, that was pretty much
Okay, me, when I was younger, about like 17, I used to do skin bleaching. But since I get older, I don't do it no more. But I used to do it like back in my teen, you know?
I find it really like too like to like help that because growing up like with my parents and my family, like even like I was at like what's that? We're getting like outlets for like my aunt's house, and even like it'd just be little stuff like growing up. Like I always just thought black was better. She picked up like the outlet, and then she's like, oh, like the black one's there. Like yeah, that one's better, you know? Just like I just always had it in my head that like black people were better than like you know. Like I don't know, it's just how they say certain things. It's just like yeah, like you know, like this and that. Like I just have like my cousins being like yeah, like black people is this. Like
you see how I'm saying, but you grew up being taught.
Yeah, I feel like, what I meant to say is that, like, you know, I feel like definitely how, like, even just being mindful of, like, the jokes that you say, the facts, you know, how you, like, treat, like, you know, certain people, like, you just need to be mindful of certain things.
Yeah,
especially with race, like.
Yeah, the dark skin jokes don't fly no more.
Sorry, I'm very guilty of it. Cause
I think we all are, though. I think let's be real. As much as we know how toxic these jokes are for people of color, I think we all are guilty. We've all laughed at it once sometimes in our life. Even when we felt offended, we laughed at it because we just didn't know how to tell someone it hurts when you say that. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like how do I like tell someone like, yo, that joke you did, it hurts me, but everybody's already laughing, everybody's gone into laughter or whatever. Like honestly, like dark skinned people deserve just as much as respect as light skinned people, as brown people. And the funny thing is we're all black. So why are we arguing with each other about which black is better? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't even blame ourselves. I blame what the media taught us. And I'm really glad that you grew up being told like black is this, black is this, black is that. So you grew up with that mentality from birth.